Style is everything. It's the way the camera moves or doesn't move. It's the way the music sounds, the way it's embedded into the film. It's the realism or exaggeration of the actors' performances. It's the intensity of the action, the pacing of the scenes. Style is the combination of all of these elements. It's how creators choose to express information and evoke emotions, the choices that separate them from everyone else. You can just tell when you're watching a Fincher or Tarantino or Nolan movie. There's just a certain way the elements synthesize to design the creator's unique blueprint, whether it's the precise camera work or the extreme violence or the climactic cross-cutting. Style is what makes something memorable. Distinct. It's what allows something to stand the test of time, to ingrain itself into your mind as an unforgettable piece of art. Which brings us to Afro Samurai. Back in 2007, Studio Gonzo released what would eventually become an icon in Black entertainment. Despite being a Japanese production with only a small amount of content under its name, Afro Samurai has become one of the definitive fusions of the East and West, combining Japanese and Black cultures into a perfect amalgamation that oozes style, with its most significant contributor being its iconic music.
Afro Samurai is the project where East and Western culture can get together. And he intends his music to be a symbol of such fusion.
This signature sound comes from renowned producer and Wu Tang Clan member, the RZA.
Keep my planets in orbit, never forfeit or quit. Move forward, I talk with the awkward slang. I walk with the Wu Tang.
The music in the movie, adds a lot to your experience. You can have a good movie and bad music and miss the movie, you know what I mean? And vice versa. It could be a bad movie and good music and you miss the music. The music is very, very important to the film. And I know what I'm doing is very important to Afro, so I dedicate a lot of energy to it.
The music gives Afro Samurai a rhythm and energy unseen in almost any other anime. It presents a stark contrast to many of the traditional flavors you see mixed into the medium and flows perfectly within the world, giving it a unique atmosphere that accentuates the characters, each of them having a unique sound that works to complement their role in the story.
Afro Samurai's father, to me, represented like the older school, maybe soul culture. The villain Justice, to me, had like the hard rock culture maybe, you know what I mean? Gunslinger, Western.
The different styles of music underlie each of the characters, acting as an auditory representation of both their personalities and the conflicts within the story. Afro's rugged rap sound fuses with Justice's sound of hard rock, and his father's sound of soul to create a progression of both of them, a symbol of rap's blending of other genres, one of the many examples of how Afro Samurai combines different ideas into a single, cohesive image.
Rock kills soul. Soul grows up over time, incorporates pieces of itself and of rock, and becomes hip-hop.
With how it uses music, Afro Samurai focuses far more on the characters than the story, giving them unique sounds, designs, and mannerisms to make them stand out.
So I wanted to make sure that the story is kept simple, so that the characters are highlighted. So I chose the theme of revenge.
This guy, Takashi Okazaki, Afro Samurai's creator, was a huge fan of rap growing up, which led the way for the heavy Black influence in the series, especially the music. His focus on characters allows the style to become even more exaggerated, especially alongside Afro's immutable goal of revenge, which simplifies the plot and allows many of the surrounding characters to act in relation to him, placing even more focus onto Afro. This simplification, alongside the music, characters, and design, accentuates the characters' traits and the story's themes, imprinting Afro Samurai with one clear, central idea that it develops throughout the story: revenge.
The whole world of Afro Samurai is very character-oriented. We have very unique characters, as you can see in the character of Afro Samurai himself and Justice, or Ninja.
Throughout the entire narrative, Afro rarely speaks, and his first word doesn't come until more than 9 minutes into the first episode, uttering a line that perfectly encapsulates his character and foreshadows the tight focus the story and his character will maintain.
Nothing personal. It's just revenge.
Afro's limited dialogue illustrates his unshakable path, the simplicity of his progress, a stylistic choice that further prioritizes the characters. Now, not only did Okazaki blend his love for rap with a more character-focused approach featuring a black character as the lead, something all too rare in anime, but he also infused these ideas with Japanese animation, effectively combining these different cultures through some truly unforgettable visuals. Afro Samurai has one of the most eye-catching animation and art styles I've ever seen. It takes full advantage of its medium, doing things that can't be done in reality while still maintaining a level of realism. The art has a lot of detail, with thin lines and heavy shadows. The colors are largely desaturated, with blood acting in sharp contrast, drawing attention to itself and emphasizing the violence in this world and the cyclical, obsessive nature of revenge. This main theme is personified through the grit of the animation, the realism complementing the story's dark themes. Afro's unshaken sense of duty to avenge his father feels more intense and real through such a detailed art style. It removes much of the caricature seen in most animation, instead giving the character sleek but mostly realistic proportions and movements. However, Afro Samurai doesn't completely maintain this realism. We see the theme of revenge explored through exaggeration as well, the extreme lengths characters go through to achieve it. Afro kills hundreds of people in his quest to avenge his father. A kid, Kotaro, travels across the desert to kill Afro for the same reason. Gino goes through extreme body modifications in search of vengeance, wearing a huge teddy bear helmet in remembrance of his past, the motivator for his revenge. The franchise also reinforces the cyclicality of violence and revenge with repetition, presenting these ideas through similar events. In Resurrection, Afro uses a human shield and strikes through it, taking advantage of his opponent's morality. Later, his recreated father does the same. In the series, Afro's father tells Afro this will soon be over before fighting Justice, and Afro says the same thing to Ninja before fighting his father. Justice used to be the best friend of Afro's father, but killed him in search of some higher understanding, much like Afro later kills his best friend Gino for something he also considers more valuable than friendship. Perhaps most notably though, Afro hands the number 2 headband to the child whose father he had killed, much like Justice had done with Afro years earlier. The cycle of violence never stops.
It's got no end and no beginning. Your little anger is just a sea spray of blood in the endless ocean of this world's killing.
With some of the big name talent they were able to get, including Samuel L. Jackson, Ron Perlman, Lucy Liu, and even the voice of Sasuke Uchiha, Yuri Lowenthal,
You killed Sasuke!
It's no surprise that Afro Samurai has a very cinematic feel, cutting to many different types of shots. Wides, close-ups, low angles, and even creating a sense of a handheld camera. Much of this cinematography adds a level of maturity and seriousness to the subject matter, giving the franchise a deeper sense of sincerity. The fight scenes have a fluid flow, constantly moving the camera to change their direction and energy. Connecting with this, Afro's movement style was based on that of a basketball player, using slam dunk contests as a reference, another example of the fusion in the franchise, blending traditional samurai ideas with international influence. It also uses a variety of insert shots mixed with slow-mo and synchronized to the music to give the fight scenes a sense of rhythm and visual variation. It punctuates many of these fights with exaggerated sound design highlighted by extreme blood splatters to flow from one big moment to the next. With regards to the sounds of the voices in particular, Samuel L. Jackson changed how he spoke when acting as Afro to when he acts as Ninja. When Ninja dies though, Jackson fades his more comical, exaggerated voice into the raspy, hardened style of Afro's, revealing that they are the same person through the shift in his vocal performance.
Oh man, it was the bomb hanging out with you. Afro Samurai.
All of these elements, from the music to the animation to the dialogue and cinematography, come together to create Afro Samurai's signature style, one that embodies the fusion of ideas. It evokes a gritty but exaggerated world. It has a black samurai, a cute and sinister killer teddy bear, a conservative but sexy assassin, and Buddhist monks that live in decadence and seek violence. Afro Samurai's style is tangible. It wants to be seen and felt. It wants you to know it exists. So don't miss it.